Shalom, and welcome to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth Am, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. This is a recording of our weekly Rashi study class with Rabbi Rebecca Schatz.
Verse 8, we are going to now be in the palace, and knowing that the order has already happened, I'm going to pull up the source sheet so that those of you who are on Zoom can see it. Yes, Barry?
Yeah, just
there are no microphones, so just
you'll
speak.
repeat it all.
I sure will.
Okay. On 7, interesting that she was his uncle's daughter. So in terms of families that intermarry with cousins, she's his cousin. Possibly she could be approximately his age. It could be an older uncle whose daughter was similar in age to Mordecai.
Mm-hmm.
So he's raising her, but at the same time, there's a possibility of a relationship of Mordecai and Esther.
Yeah, so we talked a lot about their family last time. I think we're going to move on from the hypotheticals of who could be who and what to one another. But yes, we know that there's a possibility that they are close family, and that it could mean more that she was brought into his home than just the fact that he adopted her. Okay, so verse 8. I think really only Larry or Joel or I can read the verses this class. So do one of you want to read verse 8?
Rabbi Schatz, it was perfectly clear when Barry was talking.
Oh, great. Oh, amazing. Okay. Well, then I don't have to repeat anything. Okay.
We read 8 already.
We did?
Yeah.
Oh, verse 9. Wow, moving right along. That's funny. I had the place held on verse 8. Okay.
Did we read the...
There
is no commentary. Actually.
There is no commentary, yeah.
Taken by force or not?
I don't think we did.
Yeah, I think we read 9 also.
We read 8?
Yeah, we did.
Was I there?
Was she taken by force?
Yes.
Okay, great. Verse 9. All right, moving right along. Okay, verse 9. Joel, you want to read for us?
ותיטב הנערה בעיניו, תישא חסד לפניו, ויבהל את תמרוקיה, ואת מנותיה לתת לה, ואת 7 נערות הראויות לתת לה מבית המלך, וישנאה את נערותיה לטוב בית הנשים. And the young woman found favor in his eyes, and he gave favor to her, and favor was put on her, whatever.
Yeah.
And Tamruke has fragrances, right?
So let's translate it as fragrances for now. Yeah.
Okay, so he put fragrances on her, and I don't know what minotera is.
So what is manot?
Portions.
Yeah, or like money, gold, right? Something that has to do with some kind of wealth, we assume. But it says here rations. So yeah.
We'll talk about what that means.
Yeah.
To give her, and the 7 maidens suitable maidens that were given her to the house of the king hated her. The maidens hated her for the good that of the what? The Tov Beit Nishim. Let's see what it says. And he treated her and her maids with special kindness in the harem.
Okay. So the reason that it's hard to translate and hard to explain, are you looking for something? Are you just confused? It's a really hard verse to understand. Especially because, I'm on the wrong verse. Well, that would be really hard to understand. Yeah. especially because what seems to be happening here are many different things, right? It's actually many different sentences. The maiden pleased him and won his favor. Stop. He hastened to, I'm just reading the English and then we'll go back into the Hebrew. He hastened to furnish her with her cosmetics and her rations. Pause. Those 7 maidens also got those things, right? That's kind of like an aside. And then the third thing, he treated her and her maids with special kindness in the harem. So it's interesting, right, that there are kind of three different vignettes almost happening in one verse. But it gives us a very full picture of both what was going on in terms of the king's let's call them feelings towards her, what was happening to her, and then also how the other women were experiencing her. I think the word is vayeshaneha and not so they didn't hate her. Though I think that reading into it, they might have hated her. But I don't think that's what it says here. And it felt when you translate it that way, I was like, oh, it's like middle school. But I don't think that's actually what's going on in this particular verse. So we will look at some of these words in particular. I'm going to pull them up on Safaria, though Leonard, you're welcome to pull them up as well, and anybody else who wants to, because some of these words are not, first of all, words that we know just from our own Hebrew vernacular, but also don't seem to be the right words for what might be happening here. Like they seem to be what's the phrase? Like things and not qualities of what's happening to a person. And what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever. It'll come to me. Yeah, Rick. Can you all hear Rick, or should I repeat what he's saying? You can hear him. Wow, this is a miracle. We're just going to do this from now on. Yes, Rick, go on. I don't think so.
Quick while you can. Vayeshaneha has the Dargan, bringing drama to that.
Yeah.
So if it was a normal situation, it would just be a normal trope, but it's special because he's doing some. I'm droshing into it.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing something out of the ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing with the Vayivahel with the Tilisha Gedolah on the front. It's out of the ordinary. It's a rare trope on top. But we don't know why. He hasn't said anything yet, but he's doing nice things for her. When I see Vayishaneha, I think Vishinantam, Vanecha, teach your children. So maybe he was teaching her different things about the harem that a normal candidate wouldn't get. Spitballing.
Yeah.
The trope of those two verbs bringing drama there.
Great. Thank you very much for sharing that. Anybody else? Yeah, Leonard.
According to the Safari, the Shana here doesn't mean to teach, it means to repeat, to do again, to change.
Good.
Oh.
So he changed her status and that of her helpers to as it says here, special kindness in the harem. So he elevated her, so to speak. So he made it easier for me.
Yeah, so it seems like the word good. If we're going into words now, we can. That's one of the three that I want us to look at. So we'll start with the last one. If we are looking at this word from the place of it meaning to differentiate, right, to set apart, leshanot, then it might have meant that he kind of put her aside to treat her differently, which is what the Steinsaltz translation is here as well. To treat her differently than all the other na'aroteha, from all the other women around her, young women around her. Marsha, what are you going to say?
Walter translates the word as single her out.
To single her out, right, exactly. So to make different. Yeah, Barry.
So a question, so what is it that caused him to single her out? So this is a feeling issue. It's a heart. So talking about the heart, the live. So what?
Wait, hold on, guys. We can't. Go ahead, Barry.
What is it about his heart that causes his heart to open to her? So I'm going to drash this thing. So this is the hidden part of God being in the story. who opens the heart. So I see no other reason why his heart would be open to her necessarily. So I'm Rashi map.
Yeah, that's very nice. I think that's a much probably deeper explanation than what's going on, but it seems like he thought she was pretty.
We keep saying he. I want to be very clear.
Yeah.
Who's the he?
God.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to be sure we're not.
Correct. Right. She's pleasing the guy who is caring for the women who are then going to be going to the king.
Which is the direct translation of Haggai, the guy.
The guy, yes, very good. Very good. Haggai is the guy. That's exactly right. Okay, because just as a reminder here, v'titav hana'ara be'einav, and she looked good in his eyes, right? So it could be the very nice, beautiful God infused drash that Barry just gave. It could also be that he thought she was attractive, and more attractive than everyone else. Stevie.
Just where I thought Rick was going on the trope.
Yeah.
Is the next pasuk having the Dargat on Shimordachai.
Yeah.
So it seems like there's maybe this deliberate sort of emphasizing that the differentiation was not because of her, ethnic background. Because they didn't know about the ethnic background, but you might have thought that this, distinguishment was because of that.
Okay.
But also as another trope thing that just the Titav is sort of like in one very sort of like separated out chunk at the beginning, and then the rest of it is sort of like a faster, like connected
trope system.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Norm.
A commentator in the 16th century says all of these young women had superficial beauty, but unlike some who only appeared good from afar, Esther was pleasing even after one got to know her well.
Oh, that's nice. Or offensive, I'm not sure. That's I actually don't know how to take that. Did you all hear what Norm just said on Zoom? Or should I repeat it? You did. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Sure. I mean, it's obviously very nice, right? That's a very nice idea. Who are we all waving at?
We were.
Oh, hi! Come on in. Everyone started waving. I was like, "Why are we? Who are we waving to?" Okay. The thing that I would point out, in accordance to what Norm just shared, in terms of that maybe there was more to her than the other women in terms of her personality and getting to know her. The word chesed is used, which I think is a really important thing for us to recognize, because what is chesed? When we talk about chesed, what is chesed? Yeah, kindness. We like to translate it as loving kindness, which I'm not really sure what that means, but kindness is an element of someone's personality that you have to know. You can't just say, oh, the person walking down the street is kind, right? You have no idea if they're kind or not. Once you get to know someone, then they might show that kindness. And I think loving kindness is something that goes even beyond that, right? That has actions associated with it, etc. So the fact that it says, Vatitav hana'ara be'einav, v'tisah chesed lefanav, right? That really showed this loving kindness before him. So I think to Barry's point, right, though, and to Norm's 16th century guy who doesn't have a name.
He has a name. It's the Mamar Mordechai.
Oh, Mamar Mordechai. Okay, sure. So according to the commentary as well, there must have been something more than just she was pretty. Because everybody who was coming before the king, right, for whom they haven't gotten there yet, but everyone who eventually is going to go before the king, we would assume is pretty, because that was part of what needed to happen to get them in the door. So there was something that stood out, and I think that we see a hint of that in this word chesed. There was another hand. Was it you, Leonard? No? Rebecca?
Yeah, I was just going to say that it made me think it was the king who she pleased and won his favor, because he saw her natural beauty before she had all the cosmetics and fragrances. So
that's nice.
That made it, especially romantic.
Yes, sure. The romantic in the room, Rebecca Friedman. Okay. Let's look at two other. Okay, Yeller.
I just have one, two comments.
Yeah.
So my midrash on this is what seems to me to be obvious.
Okay.
Mordechai paid him off.
Haggai?
Yeah. I mean, Mordechai, we already know, we think we know, that Mordechai was a big macher.
Okay.
And probably had quite a bit of wealth.
Yeah.
And so when he sent her to the harem, he wanted to make sure that she was taken care of. So there's nothing in the language that suggests that.
And it contradicts that. It says that the reason he did this was because she won favor in his eyes.
Yeah, but a guy is a unit. So a guy wouldn't be influenced by her beauty. He had other reasons besides. He's a what's Saras? Right. Saris. He's a Saris. He's an advisor. So why would he be influenced by her? I'm simply offering. There's nothing to justify this in the text that he was a payoff. But you can stop me if you don't want to talk about it. There's a really interesting commentary. I have no idea who it's by.
Okay.
And I'm not going to give you the whole thing. I'll give you the whole thing if you want. It has to do with the 7 maidens.
Okay.
Represent the 7 days of the week.
Oh.
You know anything about that?
I did happen upon that. What? That's the what?
That's from Yaros Tavash.
So I did happen upon it. I didn't bring it here. Can you just hold on to it for 1 second? I just want to get into these other words really quickly, and then we can get to the rest of the verse. So I want to look at the word tamrukeha. Does anybody have any idea? It doesn't mean soup. It doesn't come from the same root. So that he didn't put soup all over her. So
Unguent.
Unguent?
It's an unguent.
Unguent is a fragrance that.
Oh, a fragrance. I was like, what is that? Okay, great. Thank you. Wow. I just learned a word. I've literally never heard that one before in my life. Okay.
Alter uses.
Okay, great. Okay. Alter wants us to learn some English today. Is that English? It must be English. Okay. So this is where you need Rabbi Kligfeld. Big words. That's Rabbi Kligfeld.
So till you get married, you can learn these things.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not really sure what that's referring to, but we're going to let that slide.
Anglo French.
Okay.
From Latin, unguentum.
Okay, great. So though I didn't know that word, what the Hebrew seems to be telling us is that whatever this fragrance was, it wasn't like you spritzed perfume. It was something that you had to scrape or rub onto your body, which makes a lot of sense, right? Because they were using oils back in the day. I'm not sure you would scrape an oil, but in terms of something that smelled good, you probably had to rub essential oils and then put it on yourself. It doesn't say smooth, so I don't. Yeah, it says scraping or rubbing, which I want to just keep us to what the translation is. And then there is something very interesting about the fact that it could be that this word comes up in times of injury, right? In times of if someone has a boo-boo, that they somehow give an ointment as a remedy. So it's interesting to think about, right? Were blemishes being covered up, right? Was it a fragrance to make her smell good? Doesn't really matter what it was, but I just wanted us to get a sense for what we were talking about here in terms of the preparation that she went into. Yeah, Rachel.
Just an unguent as a category of stuff.
Yeah.
Has medical uses,
right?
In addition to particular formulations of cosmetics. And unguent is usually something that's oil or fat based.
Great. Okay.
And I was just thinking in terms of needing to scrape.
Yeah.
Wax. If it was mixed with some sort of wax.
Sure.
Would put it in that category.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, Barry.
Hey, just keep in mind, this is not a 3-hour beauty parlor thing. This is a whole year of this, every day for an entire year. I suspect it's transformative of the surface of the body.
So interesting that you should say that, actually. The next word that I want us to look at is vayeva. It's too small on my screen. Vayevahel, right? Lefana vayevahel. It actually means to make haste. So to hurry to do all of these things, right? To get her ready. And in terms of the other women that were going to be getting ready, right? It seems as though it was a little bit like a factory, right? Everybody kind of went through the line. And if we look at this picture, which I showed last week as well, there, and I'll pass it around for those of you who are in the room, there is a picture here that shows that there are lots of women kind of getting ready all together, but in like round robin style, like if you go to a fair and there are different booths, it seems that was somewhat what these women were going through in order to get ready to see the king. Yeah, Renee.
So I looked it up and it says it comes from the triconsonantal Hebrew root MRQ, which means to scour and polish and cleanse.
Yeah, so same
it's a
kind of
cleansing or purifying substance as opposed to makeup.
Maybe. I think what they mean by scouring is to like rub, like we were talking about before, probably in terms of the cleansing. I think it's like rub something off. But yeah, that's very.
I mean,
very...
to me, it seems it would be more like a mask, almost kind of, where you get off all the schmutz before you put your makeup on.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah.
So I saw one of these in a museum once I think it's from ancient Egypt, maybe Rome.
Okay.
It's called a strigil, strigil. So, right, in the ancient world, an ointment scraper is typically used. Instead of using soap, ancient Greeks, Etruscans, and Romans covered their bodies in olive oil and sand, and then used a strigil to scrape off the oily, dirty residue.
Right.
His wife.
Larry just asked who the two of you are. Do you want to just do you want to just and Norm's now telling him loudly at the end of the table. Do you want to just introduce yourselves for those of you who don't know you?
I'm Diane Dorff.
Steve Morgan.
Rabbi.
Yeah.
This is Henry Morgan's brother and sister-in-law. Oh, Cantor, I didn't know that. Okay. Sorry for taking away your title. Henry Morgan's brother and sister-in-law. Welcome. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for being part of our attendance. Okay. Yes. So it's possible that this was like very known to the ancient world, that this is how you got ready, right? There were certain, when you go into the Jerusalem, one of the museums, I think it's the Israel Museum. When you go into the Israel Museum, you see there's all the display case of like makeup stuff, right, that they used to use in the ancient world, and it's possible that one of those was there. I don't remember for sure, but this doesn't seem to be unique, right? It doesn't seem to be that this was a unique way of someone getting ready. The last word I want to look at, because this was the word that Joel was hesitantly defining, because it's a word that we know from the Torah, manoteha. Right. So mana or manot is like a measurement of something, right? Often we think of manot as a measurement of currency or of silver or of gold. But it seems to also mean just basically to assign or to appoint, which makes sense because if you're counting something, you're appointing it for something else, we assume. So in terms of this actually wasn't part, it doesn't seem, of her preparation physically, but rather giving the maidens a certain amount of stuff basically to have, whether that was to beautify them, to wear, who knows. Rations could also just be food, right? It could also be money, whatever it is. And to Larry's point, his own midrash in terms of, the payoff to get Esther ahead in all of this, it could be that some got more than others. We don't know how, we don't know why that might have been the case, but it's possible that the more that you had, the better off you were going to be once you went from Haggai, which now I'm always going to think of as the guy, to the king. Okay, let's look at the Rashis, and then Larry's going to read the Midrash for us. Yeah.
I just have one question
Sure.
for you.
Yeah, okay.
Because you talked about the verb,
Yeah.
vayivahel,
Yeah.
which means he hastened, he hurried.
Correct.
That's how it's translated.
Yeah.
So, because we're told later on, this is a year process.
Right.
He wouldn't have been in a hurry. So why is he hurrying? And the only thing I can think of is he's hurrying because Mordecai's paid him off and he wants to show that he's doing this things and he's responding really quickly.
Yeah. So it is possible that because it was a year-long process, right? Lahavdil, it had to go quickly for each person because there were so many women to get through, right? I don't know that what we're talking about is that the from start to finish was quick, but rather like each woman had to kind of be taken through this process quickly to then get to the next one because it was going to take so long. I obviously don't, or your midrash, which you should just like write it out, and then by the end of the Megillah you'll have your own. Yeah, Barry.
I just prefer the other drush. That this is a hidden God opening his heart. So it's not a payoff, but rather this is God's hidden hand doing this.
Okay.
Not a payoff.
Yeah, Rick.
Hey Gez is named first with an aleph, and then Hey Guys with a yud. So some people really get into seeing the yud places and the holy places.
I've never focused on that.
God, that's God putting this little thumbprint there. Yeah.
Wow. I've never focused on that before. You're totally right. The verse before, it's just spelled, and here it's just with a yud. Wow.
Good. So it's got to change or something or something.
Or the typo, yeah. Okay, great. Yeah. Wow, I've never focused on that. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, Rashi's. Joel, I think you were reading.
Vayvahel et tamukea zariz v'meher b'shela Michel Kulan. But he hurried to give her what was hers from more than all the others.
Yeah, so
he put it in front of the line.
Larry's nodding. Larry's very, very sure that his midrash has now been confirmed. The fact that I think this is explaining, and I might have given this away, so I'm sorry about that. This is explaining a little bit what it means that things were hurried, right? That we needed to make sure that she was kind of pushed through this system, whether it's quicker than others or just as quick as others, but that the women were pushed through the system quite quickly, right? And then Rashi is adding that it was done quicker for her than others. That is not in the Megillah, but it does help Larry with his midrash. Yeah, Barry.
I saw recently a comment that, and someone please correct me, that there is really no Rashi on Esther. There's no book of Rashi on Esther. Can someone counter what I said?
There's no book of Rashi on anything. What do you mean?
Well, where do we know this is actually Rashi doing this, or not his students, or some commentary about Rashi saying this? Is how do we know what we're reading here? These are Rashi's comments.
I mean, I think it's a question that you could ask about any commentary, right? Like I could say that I am commenting something and it wasn't actually me, it was Stevie, but I can put my name on it. It's just that's how authorship works in general. We know that this is Rashi because he wrote it down.
That's the point. If there are thoughts that it's just not Rashi's writing, that it could be students of others who wrote this in the name of Rashi.
Right. Yeah. Great. Okay. Second Rashi. Oh yeah, Rachel.
I was looking in Svaria.
Yeah.
I'll read anything in English in Svaria.
Sounds good.
Sena Reina.
Oh yeah,
comments on this verse that Esther pleased Haggai.
Right.
And Haggai was doing all these nice things for Esther.
Okay.
Because it was like he was betting that she would be the one selected as queen.
Okay.
He immediately gave Esther clothes and 7 maidens as servants, and all the maidens were Jewish. One was Sunday, one was Monday, and so the maid that was Shabbat, that way Esther would always know when it was Shabbat.
Our rabbis love a good, let's make sure that everybody was Jewish and everybody was connected to those kinds of things. Yeah.
It's amusing and it's fanciful.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Leonard and then Norm. And then
I
Steve.
wanted to point out for those who didn't know that Sena or Rena is actually a Yiddish version of the Torah that's written for women. So these are the Bible stories written specifically for women in Yiddish.
I didn't know it was Yiddish, but that's really interesting.
That's
Okay, Norm.
that is also
A
cool.
different, and I think more reasonable commentary is that she was the Jew there, but she had 7 maids, and they would come each day, one each day. She was an industrious person, so the 6 of them would be impressed that every time they came to take care of her, she wasn't just being lazy, she was doing something worth doing. And the one who came on Shabbos and saw that she was just always resting all day, figured she was just another one of these spoiled people in the harem who just rested all the time and never figured out that she was only resting on Shabbos.
I hope
she kept her identity secret and observed the Sabbath.
I hope that one day, to Barry's point, I hope that one day someone listens to this entire podcast and just has a completely different idea of what Megillat Esther is about, because the number of midrash that we come up with in this class is really just it's its own book in and of itself, and very entertaining. Let's keep to the Rashi that we're currently reading, and then we can go on to the others. Stevie, did you want to comment on this Rashi?
I was gonna say much what my dad said. That's in the Art Scroll.
Okay.
I think that's after she becomes queen, not here, but
great.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Let's read the second Rashi.
2 Rashi.
Joel. There are 3 Rashis. But who knows? Maybe it's not Rashi. Okay. Oh yeah, I know. Look at us. Maybe not 2 verses though. Okay, go ahead, Joel.
Hariyot latet la l'sharta v'chen osin kulan v'rabotenu darshu masher darshu. So what was due to her to serve her, and so he did to all of them.
Yeah.
And thus he did to all of them.
Yeah.
And the rabbis expounded what they expounded.
So Rashi's basically saying, guys, what happened to Esther happened to all of the women. Move on, right? But what he's basically saying is, but then there were a lot of rabbis who decided to drash on this any which way they wanted, which, by the way, is what we're all doing here today. So what Rashi's saying is just leave it alone. That's exactly what the verse is telling you is what happened. She got beautiful because all the maidens got beautiful, and then they moved on and they got to the king, right? But Rashi wants you to know that there were obviously other comments and other ways of understanding this, because the rabbis had what to say, so to speak. Diane.
Publish or perish.
So I'm surprised nobody has commented on this yet, but in line with Rashi's comment, it would appear that all the women had 7 maids who were serving them, and there's just this picture of some kind of women's. I mean, we don't know how many candidates there actually were,
right?
But an awful lot of women were doing a lot of stuff in some large, I don't know, like it's just a weird picture of all of these women who are acting on their own in some factory-like setting.
Right, exactly, 100%. And it reminds me a little bit of actually the story where Moshe is put in the basket right at the beginning of Shemot, at the beginning of Exodus, where we talk a lot about Moshe, which is interesting because he's a baby and isn't doing much. He's just laying there. But what we don't talk about is like how many women it probably took to have, if that happened to Moshe, it also happened to other babies, right? So Rabbi Sean Fieldsmeyer actually always talks about how this must have been an organization, an institution, a club of women who had a system, kind of like an underground railroad of sorts, right, to get babies from safety to safety. And I think what you're describing is the same, which is, it's surprising to me that we also haven't brought it up, is the same kind of idea of all these women taking care of one another. And it's just so unique to us that would have been the case, and that then it wouldn't have been kind of highlighted and mentioned and brought to be something really spectacular. Yeah, Alan.
I'll
just turn the camera.
Protect everyone as part of a society.
Yeah.
Doesn't really apply to Moshe in as much as it was Pharaoh's daughter who is able to find her. And I don't think she was going to be part of this group among Jews to save the Jewish babies. And of course, the rabbis go fanciful. There was Batya. Her name was Batya. And she was going down to convert and immerse herself and all those wonderful things. But the bottom line was that she was able to take Moshe from the basket and brought him
yeah, I think that is one bottom line. I think the other piece is just like all these women who came together to make sure that they were taking care of one another and the babies who came from them. And so too here, right, this idea that all these women were taking care of one another before they then had to go into a palace and probably have very, very few rights and much less autonomy when under the rule of a potential husband or at least just quote a king. Rachel, and then we're gonna do the next Rashi.
I was just thinking, there were 100 women.
Yeah.
Like Esther,
yeah,
preparing to kind of audition for queen.
Yeah.
And if each of those 100 women
yeah
had 7 maids,
700 maids.
That makes for a very crowded harem beauty salon,
right?
You know, and spa,
right?
It just makes
a 1 year. So
how many is 100? Because I think there's 354 of them.
Because of the different provinces?
So it's a whole year, and they're using a lunar calendar, so it's 354 days in the lunar calendar.
What? What do you get one per year?
I think she was picking.
Because the whole process.
He was just
assuming. He takes one in the evening and sends her back in the morning. Obviously making this up, but it can be anything.
It's a lot of women. Let's just say it's a lot. It's a lot of women. And whether it's 100 or 354 or 50, right? Like times 7, that's still a lot of women. Yeah,
it's a big factory.
To Barry's point about the authenticity of Rashi, the most authoritative manuscript of Rashi is called Leipzig 1, and it dates to the 13th century. It stands out, first of all, because the scribe claims that he's copying from a manuscript prepared by Rashi's personal secretary, Rabbi Shemaiah, and secondly, because unlike most manuscripts, when he puts in his own comments, he does it in the margins or in a different font, and they're easily separatable from the Rashi part. And it includes Chumash and the 5 Megillah. So Rashi definitely commented on Megillat Esther.
Thank you.
Okay, and on that note, let's read this last Rashi.
It's a long one. Vaishaneha, Shina Ota. So he just was parsing out the word, but he's not really adding any meaning to it. Except that we haven't actually talked about the changing of her. We were talking about like the designating, right? To make her differentiated. Right. I think to change her is actually a very different idea in terms of what could have been happening to whether it's Esther or any of these women in terms of their appearance, right? Are they trying to look a certain way and therefore be changed? Or was he differentiating her from these other women? So I think you're right. It's nothing we haven't talked about, but it is a different way of understanding this idea of shoneh. What does it mean for her to be shoneh? Does it mean that she was changed or does it mean that she was set aside? But it's already in the word. You should just take
that. Yes. No. For sure it's in the word. Yeah. I just was in terms of what we in the class had spoken about. We hadn't yet used the word changed.
You don't think he disabusing us of the idea that it might be soneh.
Oh, I see. I don't know. I don't think so because it would be spelled differently. But yeah, I don't know. That's a very good point. I mean, without vowels and letters interchangeable. Yeah, I don't know. We have 10 minutes. We're gonna try to get through verse 10. How do we feel about that? 10 minutes, verse 10, 9 minutes, verse 10. Okay, great. Okay, Larry, why don't you read for us?
לא הגידה אסתר את עמה ואת מולדתה, כי מרדכי ציווה עליה אשר לא תגיד.
Okay.
So she didn't reveal, Esther didn't reveal her people or her origin or her ancestry.
Yeah.
Because Mordechai commanded to her not to tell.
Okay, this seemingly comes out of nowhere, right? All of a sudden, we were just talking about maidens getting beautified, specifically focusing on Esther, and now all of a sudden she gets to speak, and she's being told not to say certain things. So all of a sudden now, Esther is really, to go back to the last Rashi that we actually just talked about, I would disagree with Rashi's interpretation. It doesn't seem like she was changed. It really does seem like she was differentiated, because now all of a sudden we're going to actually hear from her as a character, which is different from even Vashti, for whom we talked a lot about, but didn't ever really hear from. Yeah.
So this fits with my midrash perfectly.
Great.
Because she comes in as a Jewess.
Yeah.
Right? And she's clearly not like all of the other Persians or Medians or whatever they are who are there. That's why she had to be changed or transformed, so she looked more like the Gentiles who were in there. And Mordechai had told her, don't say anything. Mordechai is in cahoots with Haggai, right? And Esther is part of it. This is making it clear that Esther's been told not to tell any of these other people.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, I hope you're taking notes. Okay, Alan.
Yeah, it seems that it's more than just being said. The word is tzivah, commanded.
He commanded her.
He commanded her. It's not like he's exerting greater control, which might be supportive of Larry's midrash, but in any case, he's making it clear. He's telling her what to do, not to reveal her background, and not just an idea. It's commanding to do it, and she's responding to that.
Yeah. No, I just meant that she was different because she was getting that it seemed as though if she wanted to, she had the power to say things, which would be different than the rest of them. But you are correct that it says that Mordechai commanded her not to say something, so she didn't. Stevie. Oh, Rick. Sorry, I thought it was Stevie's hand.
Just to clarify a little bit, who was she telling? Right? It doesn't say she didn't tell a guy. She didn't tell her maiden. She didn't tell the king. It's just it's open-ended.
Yeah.
Who she didn't tell.
Yep. Great. So it is really important, and this is part of the reason why teaching any class verse by verse is difficult, because you lose track of who the subject is. But it is important for us to recognize that it's particularly ambiguous here because there is no subject, not just because we haven't read the verse before, we obviously just did, but also because there's no subject. She just knows that she is not going to say anything about who she is. Hard stop, right? She's been commanded not to, but she's not going to, right? That she's not going to use her mouth to do so. I'm just going to call on Diane, and then Diane.
This suggests why she had two names, because she was also hiding her real name.
Great. Okay. So Larry really liked that. You didn't see him, but he enjoyed that. So that there is, I forget if it's midrash or commentary. I'm sorry that I don't remember. And if someone does, please tell me. There is a way of thinking about Esther's two names, right? Hadassah and Esther, as a way of understanding almost not two different characters and in that there were two different people, but two different ways of approaching what she then was able to express, right? That as Hadassah, potentially she had what to share through that personality, let's call it, and then Esther on the other side of things. So there is a way that using these different names, similar to how we talk about Jacob and Israel, right? When those two names are being used in the Torah, what is the relationship, or what are the ways in which that character is speaking when referred to as Jacob versus referred to as Israel? So too, though we don't hear Hadassah as much in the Megillah, what does it mean for this character to have those two names, and what comes out of her mouth, and what are the or what doesn't come out of her mouth based off of when those two names are used? Rabbi. Yes, you're the only other rabbi in the room.
I think the most important thing to note, though, is that this is a crucial plot point.
Yes.
To reveal who she was.
Good.
Right,
Good.
because that's the whole how it plays out at the end.
Good.
And you wouldn't get the ending unless you knew that. Again, so the author had to stick this idea in somewhere.
Yeah. Good.
And here it is.
Great. So this idea that right, we know how the story ends, and so knowing what comes at the end, we must need this at some point in her origin story, or else the ending wouldn't make any sense. Stevie.
Larry's point, is we have back in verse 3 that they're going to gather women from all the provinces.
Right.
So it doesn't seem likely that she was the only foreigner or anything like that, right?
Correct.
There's, so
yeah.
Maybe they were trying to make them all Persianify or something, but it's not the same situation as, Joseph, where
right.
Pharaoh has to give him new clothing and a different name. Right?
Yeah, great. Let's just read this last Rashi. I see your hands, but let's just read this last Rashi to make sure that we get through it. Larry.
I don't think we're going to get through it.
Okay.
It's weird. Asher lo tagid. No, not to reveal it.
Okay.
Kadei sheyomru hi memishpacha zuya v'shalchuha.
Yeah.
שאם ידעו שהיא ממשפחה שאול המלך, היו מחזיקים בה.
Okay.
All right, so in order that they should say that she is from a discredited family and send her away, and if they knew that she was from the family of Shaul, the king,
yeah,
they would keep her.
Okay.
I admit I don't understand this at all.
So yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm not going to read it unless you really want me to. There's this very long commentary in the Sansinu on this verse, which goes in. It uses this Rashi and more to suggest that there's a lot of conspiracy. Mordechai is part of a conspiracy here.
Oh.
Which goes back to the Midrash. So don't tell them so that they will or won't think that you're from an ignoble family, but that if they knew that you're from the family of King Shaul, they would keep you. I'm not following this at all. So maybe somebody understands this.
Yeah, Leonard.
My understanding of this is that somebody who's of noble birth is more desirable than somebody who isn't.
Wait, noble or ignoble?
Noble. Noble is better than ignoble. Not ignoble, but not noble. So the point is that by not telling what her origin is, since we've already decided that she's a descendant of King Shaul, right? By not telling them that, they're going to assume that she has no royal history. They don't know of any royal history, and therefore she'll be dismissed. And that's what he wants. He wanted to make sure that she didn't get selected. So he wanted to do that. And in fact, there are stories that we didn't read last week that say that Mordecai actually hid her so that she wouldn't be found. But then the king decreed that if anybody who was hidden will be put to death, and he got scared, and so he brought her to the marketplace, and she was found and swept up with the others.
Okay.
Rabbi Morgan, did you want to say something?
The Machzikim to me sounds like they would seize her. like, probably imprisoned her or something.
Hails.
The weird thing about this is that she's a descendant of King Saul, and
Right.
the subsequent kings of Judah were all descendants of King David.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she had to be, you already discussed, right? She had to be a descendant of King Saul, so that Haman is a descendant of Agag, and this is an intergenerational battle for the Hebrews.
We haven't gone that deep into that, but it has come up a few times, kind of peripherally. Yeah, Norm.
Even identity secret serves a few functions. One of which is Mordecai is an important lobbyist, hangs out around the court all the time. If it's known that she's connected to him, people might not speak frankly when he's around.
Yeah.
And people might not speak frankly when she's around within the harem. So keeping their connection secret may serve multiple functions. And especially as the story is likely to proceed, unless they change them.
Yes, Stevie.
In the next verse, Mordecai makes it very clear that he's asking about her all the time to everybody. So it doesn't seem like their relationship has been kept secret.
Okay, so I'm going to leave us all on a what's it called? Cliffhanger. Thank you. For next week, the thing that I think we should take away from this Rashi, and this is to Rabbi Morgan's point, is that it's very important to not only the Megillah, but also to our rabbis, that we understand who Esther was, where she came from, and how important it was that she not tell anybody. Right. I think the details of the Rashi I'm happy to get into when we have more time next week. But I think the biggest takeaway, both from just the verse itself to Rabbi Morgan's point in terms of the end of our Megillah, which maybe we'll get to in the next few years, but also to the Rashi as well, that there is something really important for us as the readers, and therefore most likely as Jews, to understand what she had to go through, both because of who she comes from and who she was, and also what she was afraid of having happen to her or to her people. And this is like a big red flag, right? A big red flag for what's about to happen. And also, I guess to continue the flag metaphor, a big green flag for her in terms of what she does for us later on. So thank you. Sorry for the sound issues at the beginning of class. We will have class next week.
You've been listening to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth Am, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. If you enjoy these podcasts, we invite you to write a review on the Apple Podcast website or wherever you get your podcasts. For more information on Temple Beth Am, Los Angeles, please visit www.tbala.org.